Hello, everybody. Welcome to Image Builder Office Hours, our bi-weekly meeting. It's Monday, the 30th of June. Uh, we are a sub-project of SIG Cluster Lifecycle, and therefore we abide by the general Kubernetes community rules of conduct, which I'm sure you're well aware of, but basically we can summarize as try not to talk over each other, use the raise hand feature, and let's make this a welcoming place for anybody who wants to be here. With that, let's just get into the agenda. Go ahead, Marcus.
Cool. So, I'm both already aware, but just for the recording and for everybody else, I plan to step down as a maintainer of Image Builder from about September time, mainly due to, well, no, completely due to a change of job, where I'll no longer be making use of Image Builder and no longer have like a setup to test Image Builder and stuff. So it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for me to continue with that because I won't be able to give it the attention it deserves. On that note, I have been chatting with people at Giant Swarm because we are still very much users of Image Builder and it is a somewhat key part of our flow. There is a few people that are potentially interested in taking over the responsibility from me to continue with Image Builder, so I will be chatting with them either tomorrow or next week, depending on availability, and going through basically what it entails and what can potentially be expected. I will report back once I have more, but hopefully it means that I can pull in some help to take over from me. My plan is to probably move down to being an approver or reviewer or whatever the term is from September, just so I can still help out kind of ad hoc as needed, and then slowly kind of move to emeritus status once that's no longer required. So yeah, but
Okay.
moving straight into the next kind of section to kind of prepare for that, I've been doing a bit of cleanup in the repo as well, trying to make it uh, as clean as possible for somebody else to take over from me, and to make it less strenuous for you and everybody else as well. So one thing I did notice was we still had quite a lot of operating systems that were built into Image Builder that were end of life. So those were CentOS 7, Photon 3, Ubuntu 2304, and as of today, Mariner 2, which is the Azure Linux one. I have now merged PRs to remove all of those from Image Builder. The Mariner one just went in before this call. So those are now removed from Image Builder. That doesn't mean that they can't still be used. It just means they're not built in by default. If somebody does want to still use those old versions, they have to provide their own files and stuff, and they can do so by looking at the commit history and pulling those files back if they want to. I went through all the other operating systems, combinations and stuff we've got. Everything else pretty much is still within support windows, with the exception of Ubuntu 2004 and I think one of I forget which one now, but these have extended security maintenance options, or whatever the appropriate term is for that operating system. So in Ubuntu, it's extended security maintenance. This means that officially end of life for 2004 has ended, and that ended 31st of May this year. But people can pay, in this case, Canonical, to have extended security fixes until April 2030, which is quite a long time.
hmm
Um, I'm wondering whether we should officially support those operating systems within Image Builder or not. My opinion is probably no, because it doesn't stop people from using them. It just stops them being built in by default and having
Yeah.
like just a simple make command to use. They would have to then, add in their own files.
They,
Um,
I'm inclined to agree, personally.
you're saying, I mean, in these cases, we've removed everything though for building these, right? It's not just that we've taken them out of the default build. They're also the makefile target's not there anymore, right?
hmm
yes, but there's nothing stopping somebody re-adding that in their own
Sure, sure.
checked out version of Image Builder.
Yeah. Um,
Um,
Yeah, I don't know.
And those make files are just basically pointers to calling Packer with it with the appropriate files, right? It's
Yep. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be hard for somebody to fault something back in. I was just clarifying that. But
yeah,
I mean, it seems crazy. We don't want to support anything until 2030 if Image Builder is even around that long. But
Yeah.
it seems like we'd really be bending over backwards. Plus, my understanding is we can't really test these in CI, right? Because we don't have
yeah, exactly.
uh, an
Exactly. Yeah.
account set up. Yeah. So I thought I had something else to
Yeah.
say, but I guess I just agree. We should probably get rid of
Yeah.
it.
I am inclined to say that the things we should support should be the things we can actually acquire.
Yeah,
Because if you're now having to pay Canonical for essentially those bug fixes and things like that, we can't do that essentially. So yeah,
yeah.
it seems a little bit silly to maybe carry on trying to support that from our side if we can't even validate it in any way.
I'm just double check something. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that the 2004 base image has actually already been removed from GCP. I'm pretty sure I had a yes. I had to actually open a pull request to remove that specifically from GCP a couple weeks ago because it's now been removed as a base image from GCP.
Mhm.
Oh, so it wouldn't
Um,
work anyway. Okay.
yeah, so yeah, that was actually breaking some tests, so I had to remove that. So I think that's also a good indicator if we should probably remove it from the other
Yeah.
providers as
Yeah.
well.
I wonder if we should, in this case, just ask in the Slack channel, not that anyone's really paying attention, but maybe because someone might scream, oh, we're actually using that. Maybe VMware is, I don't know.
So I
Hmm.
posted in
That's fair.
Slack last Friday with that
Oh, did you
question.
see? I'm not even paying
Okay.
attention myself. So,
I mean, there's a yeah, it's that
oh
last
yeah, you
Friday.
did. Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry.
I mean, it was along with me posting about all the other removals that I was doing, so maybe I could make it a bit clearer.
Oh yes, I did read this. I just hadn't been sorted out from the other ones this morning. Um, I'm going to vote yes. There.
No, you want to vote no.
You
Oh
want to
no,
I
vote no?
I
really
want to
didn't
vote no.
question this. I didn't really phrase
Changing
this
my
very
vote.
well.
Changing my vote.
I might
I'll
repost
also
that
do a vote no.
clearer? Actually, you know what I will do? I'll open an issue specifically about this case, and I'll let people put their comments and stuff
Sure.
there if needed. That'd be useful.
Okay, that seems fair.
I think it's going to be a lot of edge cases anyway that use this sort of thing. It's going to be potentially big enterprises that are struggling to move off it and therefore will pay for it.
Yeah,
And I would hazard a guess they're probably not using Image Builder anyway, these people. So
yeah, that's
it's,
my
yeah.
Or if they
yeah.
are, they need to maintain a fork, which is they probably are anyway.
I mean, worst case scenario, what we could do is update the documentation that we have to include how to add in custom targets. Like this is
Mhm.
I mean, that would also be quite a useful guide for adding new targets anyway for
Yeah.
contributors. So maybe that's something worth doing anyway.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to create an issue to cover that as well.
Although if I were, if I had depended on one of these and I went back in and I see, oh, why can't I build Mariner 2 now? I'd go find the PR that removed it and then just revert that, and hopefully that would
Yeah.
work. That's where, so
Yeah.
most people who
Yes,
have these
there is
needs are
that.
probably intrepid enough to figure it out, but um,
Yeah.
docs would be great.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good way. Right. I'll handle those two after this call then. And then I might get some draft PRs up to do the removal in the meantime. We can hold off till we hear anybody shout or whatever. Cool. The final one I've got is similar to my cleanup spree, but is actually to try and get more test coverage. So this is a work in progress PR that I'm battling with a little bit at the moment to extend our OVA test scripts to dynamically figure out what what OVA make targets we have and automatically test them. filtering out a few specific ones that we can't test for whatever reason. But up until this point, we just had a fixed list of like I think it was 4 or 5 specific operating systems. And, when we went and added new operating systems, if that got missed, then they never got tested. So this new change will actually interpret the make file, pick out all the OVA ones, and then filter out. What do I filter out? I filter out Windows, Red Hat, and any EFI ones. So the first 2 for licensing reasons, and the last one just because the EFI ones are all duplicates of the non-EFI versions. I haven't yet got this fully working yet. I'm having some issues with what was it, Rocky Linux 7. I'm trying to get some help with getting that done. My problem is I'm not entirely clued up on how the boot process works with vSphere, so I'm trying to get some help from Christian when he has the spare capacity. But yeah, hopefully if this works, this will mean more dynamic tests, and I want to try and expand this to the Azure and the GCP ones as well. And then hopefully that'll at least have more operating system coverage for our tests, which would be good, even if we don't have full provider coverage. I mean, there are then still some gaps in terms of Red Hat Linux and in this case Windows, because I don't think those can be tested without license keys and stuff like that. But
no, Windows can't.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be great.
Do we test? Sorry.
Go ahead.
That's okay.
Just
I should have put
do
my hand
we
up.
do we currently test Windows in the Azure provider?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Okay, that would be enough for me then, I think. Oh yeah, of course we do. We do.
I was just going to ask, isn't CentOS 7 EOL now as well? Wasn't that last
Yeah,
year?
I've removed that. So this pull request was before all those others merged in.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that list, I have been rebasing it as I go along. I just haven't updated the messaging.
No, that's fine.
So from that list, you see there CentOS 7, Photon 3, Ubuntu. Oh no, Ubuntu will still be there for the time being.
Oh.
Yeah, CentOS 7 and Photon 3 are already gone.
Okay, cool.
CentOS. I thought you said SunOS. I'm showing how old I am.
Do you want to throw in SunOS as a supported operating system?
Yeah, it's Solaris. We could do it both. Yeah. Well, that was a long time ago.
But yeah, hopefully I can get that sorted. If either of you have any knowledge of to why these boot things might not work, because the main thing I think that's needed for the Photon 7 to work is booting from the CD rather than the HTTP endpoint. I followed the same as the Rocky Linux 8, which is working, and it doesn't seem to be doing it. So yeah, I'm hitting a bit of a wall. I might, if I can't make any progress, I might just exclude that one for the time being, just so we can get the test in with the others there. But
seems reasonable.
Yeah, hopefully this is an approach then that we can, like I said, reuse for Azure and GCP as well.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, and then I think that was it in terms of my updates, especially around testing and stuff. I did go and update the issue that we had open to track the test coverage that we've got, which is what then spurred me on to try and cover more of this with the OVA one. When this PR is in, I will update again to cover more. Yeah, it is still quite lacking in terms of provider coverage. So, yeah.
Well, this is all great stuff. I want to go back to the first point because we kind of went through everything, but thank you very much for being so deliberate about it and giving us this timeline and maybe even finding someone to replace you because usually it's more the case that people just stop showing up and you can't get them anymore, and that's how they tell you. And also, just thank you so much because you've stepped up and basically carried this project overall. I think out of all the maintainers that are on the list. So it's been really great to have you. And as I was mumbling about previously, I'm in not the same situation, but basically my employer is having a hard time justifying significant work on Image Builder, which is kind of confusing because we're still very invested in cluster API and all that. And like, how are you going to run it? You got to build images somewhere, is my argument. But I've kind of lost this argument. So now essentially I'm in a place where like you can work on Image Builder when you need to, but don't talk about it very much because it's not, sort of helping you strategically. And I don't love that at all, but that's basically where I'm at. And I'm happy to continue doing that, but you can all see I haven't been devoting quite as much time to things. I just
Hmm.
get in there and help when I can. So this is probably what I'm going to be able to do for a while. And there's the chance that at some point they're going to be like, "Nah, you have to get off that." And I will fight. But anyway, long story short, we should try to be identifying some new maintainers, ideally.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
And I don't
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really have anybody in mind, but um, yeah, go ahead, Drew.
yeah, I was gonna say just to add to it, like I was saying just before we started the call, it's not a case that my employee's stopping me doing it. I'm still able to do this. It's fine. It's more just time at the moment is becoming a we are ridiculously busy right now. So the only time I really get is the first thing in the morning or in my evenings after work that I can really look into things. So and I have a child, so time is very,
Yeah,
very, very rare.
you have
So
priorities.
Yeah.
I am trying to fit things in where I can. There's a potential bug that I found in the QEMU one that I need to find time to test it to make sure that my thinking's right. And again, it's just that time trying to figure out whether
Yeah.
whether I can actually get it tested. And if it is a bug, get a PR pushed in for it. Um, for context around that, I think the boot partitioning order is going a bit squiffy. Let's put it that way. I spun up an image the other day, well, a few weeks back now, and the root partition ended up at the start of the disk, so it wasn't expanded. I was like, that's a bit strange,
Interesting.
even though we've got the number in. So to fix it in a branch, I set an offset, and that did it. But I need to just test that a few times to make sure it's
Mhm.
not something I did somewhere in a rushed state. So that's a sidetrack though. But yeah, obviously the point is I've not even had time to just quickly test that properly to see if I can get a fix in for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to see if there's someone in my company that I can actually. I think it'd be good for them in their kind of career, if you like, to do something like this as well, to kind of get involved in that kind of open source work. So I'm going to have a chat with them as we free up a little bit more time for them to see if they'd be willing to at least just start kind of becoming maybe an approver to start with, the reviewer, and then maybe even a maintainer down the line
Hmm.
if they're interested in that sort of thing. Plus, don't tell them, but they're a genius, and I think they'd be amazing for the project.
Yeah, bring it on. And technically, I mean, we still have Kieran and
Hmm.
James as maintainers. James is a coworker of mine, and he's just doing other things. And as you can tell, he only comes in once in a while to approve stuff. But in a pinch, we can bug him.
Hmm.
I mean,
Kieran
James
showed up
is.
in
I'm
chat.
very happy with James for the Windows support for sure.
Yes. Yeah,
Like
yeah.
whenever,
Yeah.
whenever there's anything Windows related, I call him in.
And that's not even his main thing now. He doesn't do Windows with us
Is it
anymore.
not?
He's just doing WebAssembly stuff. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Okay.
so we might not even be able to expect him to focus on Windows stuff much anymore, but we'll see.
Okay, that's an area we might need to look out for some more more help for then.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I know some of the other team members that have taken over for him inside Microsoft, but I don't think any of them have worked with Image Builder much, but
Yeah.
I know one person. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
think
potential. There's a lot of people that work on the project. We do, Chris has been doing a lot of work with you on the OVA stuff as well, hasn't he? So there's a lot of people out there. I think it's just the maintainer element, if you like, that's the
yeah.
kind of the issue in
Yep.
quotes. Yeah,
Well, and also the fact that that we still don't have a solution for Packer and all that, so it's
yeah,
not the
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
kind of a dead man walking, but everybody uses it for everything, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, just kind of glossing over that completely.
It's it's worked so far. Well, and I had been working on. I have a branch where I'm using the Ansible scripts without Packer
Mhm.
because I thought maybe this is a way out of here. And so I can hack together something that just creates a VM and on Azure specifically at this point, and then gets in there and runs our runs our Ansible scripts, and you know, and then I can figure out how to package the VM in the end. That's not very hard. And so then at least we'd have a way out. Then we'd have a way to reuse the intellectual property that we have in here without using Packer. And basically did some prototyping and brought this up with my manager, and we talked about it for a while. And he's like, just don't work on that anymore. If and when the time comes where we have to suddenly stop using Packer, then we'll scramble and figure it out. But he didn't even think it was worth being proactive about it. So that's kind of where we're at.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did a little bit of testing around just using the Ansible side as well, and it's feasible. It does work. I mean, the other option is
Yeah,
do we
I
just
mean,
stop bundling Packer and just give people instructions on filling that gap?
Bring your own
That's, you know,
Packer.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe. We just don't bundle it in.
Hmm.
The make file can just do a quick test. Do you have Packer installed? No, then that's your. I don't know where the grey
figure
line
something
is
out for the
on
container
that on
image.
the yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, we would. Yeah,
But yeah,
that's a
I
good
mean,
point.
if
Yeah.
it gets to a point where a CVE is released or whatever, then maybe that's the way.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I think all of these kind of alternatives, they're all pretty much will cover like some use cases, but not all the ones that we currently have, right? So
Hmm.
they'll cover just on Azure, or they'll cover just Linux, or they'll cover just Ubuntu, or one of those kind of things.
Right. Or most of them don't deal with Windows, and we have a requirement to
Yeah, yeah,
reboot the
that's a big.
Windows VM. Even Microsoft's own image builder service couldn't do our Windows images because it can't handle rebooting it in the middle of the script, and we do that.
Interesting. Didn't know that. Hmm.
Anyway, that it
A
is what
tough
it
cookie to
is.
solve this one.
Yeah.
Just, I think we're all just secretly waiting on IBM to relicense again.
Well, yeah.
It would have happened by now, or I would have hoped it would.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Well,
Okay.
okay.
Ever the optimist.
Do we have anything else we want to talk about?
Nothing major from my side. Like I say, I want to look into that issue. I think I might have found around the QMU raw builds, but that's a as and when I can get time to properly go through and test my theory. Um, and then if it becomes to be a thing, I've already got a fix potentially, so I can just push that up. And I mean, I suppose I could just push it up anyway. There's no harm in what I'm doing. I'm literally just setting an offset in the user data through the partitioning, so it just ensures a proper ordering. That's pretty much it. So it might
I'm
work
probably
in
going to
theory.
want to have a chat with you at some point to try and brainstorm how we can get some tests in place for the QEMU stuff. Because I'm pretty sure we can just test those on the community cluster. I don't think
I
we
think
need
so,
any
yeah.
external infra for them. So I'd like to like brainstorm that at some point.
I built them in GitHub Actions right now myself in our
Yeah.
pipelines. So I
So,
imagine we can do the same thing there.
yeah.
You don't
I
need
do
like
have to
a
run my own runners, but that's just because I didn't want to hammer out minutes on image builds. So I imagine in theory they should be possible.
Yeah, I suspect so.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to look
Just
into that at some point as well, because
yeah, no problem. We can do that.
I think that'd give us a really good test coverage. Especially
Cool.
as that we could kind of test against most changes that are made, or a good deal of changes made within
Yeah.
Image Builder.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
And for the
All right.
future.
Yes, indeed.
Nice.
Okay.
Thanks,
Happy
guys.
days, I think.
Yeah. See
Cool.
you in a couple weeks, hopefully.
Yes, absolutely. It's been good to speak to you. Take
You
care.
too.
Yeah, same.
Bye bye.
Bye.